Exactly 4 years ago today, on September the 14th, 2021, I took my first ever live trade. 350 trades, and 4 years later, we are here today, where I've got 7 figures in funding and over $100,000 in payouts. For this video, I've reviewed every single one of my trades and distilled my entire 4 years of live market trading experience into 5 key learnings, which I'm going to share with you in this video today. Make sure to stick around to the end because my 5th tip is the most impactful. And drop a subscribe if you're new. 80% of my profits came from just 20% of my trades. Now, I do use quite a low win rate strategy, but that's because my average win is 4 to 5 times larger than my average loss. Now, looking through my journal, there were many periods of downtime where there were very few trades or just quite small winners. And that's because 2 to 3 times per year, I would get a huge month where I make, 15 or 20% profit. This taught me the incredible skill, and I'm sure I'm known for it at this point actually, of being really patient. Most of the year is quiet, so you just kind of got to bide your time until an opportunity arises. You can't force a trade during slow periods because it's going to end up losing. I really like this metaphor that the best traders are like lions who spend most of their time kind of reserving their energy and only go hunting every 3 to 4 days or just when the opportunity arises. There's a few different metaphors like that. Like, traders are like a sniper where you've got to wait really patiently for the opportunity. You can't force a trade. So with the 80-20 rule in mind, it's not worth looking at your results on a monthly basis. I prefer to look at my results on a quarterly basis, or even better, on a yearly basis. Now, many traders would be quite concerned after a losing month or a few slow months, but looking at my journal, it's always worth sticking through these slow periods to allow your edge to play out over the larger sample size. I also learned that it's okay if you don't execute your plan 100% perfectly. Looking at my journal, I made so many mistakes, which is completely natural, obviously. I missed some winning trades, I took some silly losses, and I still have an average of 40% profit per year in the last 4 years. I feel that accepting mistakes is very, very similar to accepting losses in trading. Just like you'll never have a 100% win rate, you'll never be able to follow your plan perfectly forever. Now, the key here is to identify mistakes quickly, learn from them, and move on without letting them spiral into bigger problems. One mistake won't ruin your trading. It's only when you let these mistakes compound out of frustration that the real damage is done. My journal makes this super clear, like a mistake or a silly trade barely makes a difference on the equity curve, of course. You just need to make sure that you stay disciplined overall on the larger sample size. My returns in the last 4 years have really varied massively. Between 2021 and early 2023, if you look at my results, the average is 8% profit per month, which is, I wish I was still getting 8% profit per month now, because in the last 2 years, I've only averaged around 2% profit per month. Now, this is one of my favorite lessons. Market conditions change. Some years your strategy will work really well, and other years it won't work so well. And this is completely natural. I've seen a lot of traders, give up on their strategy because they had maybe a year of results that aren't satisfactory for them, or maybe even a few months of unsatisfactory results. And I feel that this is because they've remained too rigid. And thinking about it, you can see this really clearly in EA trading, or people that trade with like robots, because EAs tend to work really well for 2 years and then really poorly for 2 years. And this is exactly why EA traders have a lot of different EAs running at once, because then the strategies kind of hedge against one another. And that's how they build a really smooth equity curve. They literally have like 20 EAs all running at the same time. In 2023 and 2024, I adapted my trading style to be way more conservative because I'd noticed the market conditions had changed. If I had continued trading as I had been in 2021 and 22, oh my God, I would have had huge losing streaks and massive drawdowns. I think as a trader, you have to be really flexible, and agile is a good word. You have to be comfortable changing your strategy as the market conditions change, because otherwise you're just going to die off. By the way, I'm currently doing a 12-month challenge to get funded 100K with the 5%ers live on my YouTube channel. We're currently on month 7. which means I've only got 5 months left to pass this challenge. If you aren't following along, I highly recommend checking out that series and subscribing down below for the updates. And if you're interested in doing a 5 challenge yourself, I'll put a link to them down in the description. Early in my trading journey, I really hated losing trades, and I also really hated missing winning trades. Now, I've had a lot of experience with these uncomfortable feelings. You know, I've had some dark losing streaks, and you know, really infuriating moments where I fail a challenge by a tiny margin and then the next winning trade is like a massive winner that would have passed me it, you know what I mean? Now, having survived so many of these trials, these days very little phases me. And funnily enough, I have actually found that my performance improves the less I focus on trading. The more you try to make money trading, the less money you end up making, because you're overly invested in the results of your trades, whereas in trading you really have to be process driven rather than outcome driven. Having some other sources of income definitely helps take the pressure off as well. Lastly, and arguably the most important tip of this video, by reviewing my journal, I realized just how valuable having a journal actually is. I found that the best way, the number one way you can improve as a trader is by reviewing your trading performance. Naturally, that makes so much sense. Regular performance reviews exposes your weaknesses and also helps you identify your most profitable entries so that you can double down on them, you know? Like, not long ago, I was looking through my journal and I realized that 80% of my reversals were winning trades. So now I know if I'm in a touch of drawdown, or you know, I'm in a dangerous losing position and I might lose a funding challenge or something, I just need to look for a reversal. Now sometimes in the heat of the moment, you know, straight after a nasty losing position, it can be really difficult to acknowledge that maybe you've taken a trade that doesn't 100% fit your plan. So I would say that this method of self-improvement is only really possible if you're 100% honest with yourself, which is another very important trait to have as a trader. Most traders really struggle with being honest with themselves because of their ego. You can imagine the type of person that we are that get into trading, probably quite an egotistical person to begin with, trying to, having the belief that we can extract money from the markets where we know 95% of people struggle with it. So I would say to avoid getting your ego involved, it's best to review your trades at the end of the week rather than straight after you've taken that nasty losing position. Thank you so much for watching to the end of this video. Make sure to subscribe. I've said it a bunch of times. If you're not subscribed, subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Thank you so much for watching.